Hey guys, what's going on? Steven back again, and I'm back with another 40K video from Warhammer. Sorry it sounds so terrible today, my allergies are just really acting up today. So the topic for today's video is more 40K mysteries. My favorite, I always enjoy mysteries, the unexplained, the unsolved, not just in 40K, but just overall in general. I always find that stuff very interesting. So the title for today's video is Horrifying 40K Mysteries Part 2. I already did Part 1 and Part 3, and I accidentally skipped Part 2, so here we are with Part 2. Alright, let's check it out and learn about some more mysteries. Here we go.
The Warhammer 40K universe is no stranger to cosmic horror.
That's
it's full
true.
of some terrifying monsters, characters, and events that leave us in a constant state of dread
Lots of
whenever we read
demons.
about them. And out of all of 40K's terrifying stories, the ones that are the most interesting to the community are often the ones that, to this day, have still gone unexplained.
Right,
So today
'cause
we're
people
gonna
want
be talking
answers.
about 5 more of 40K's creepiest mysteries. We'll talk about things like a Tyranid high fleet that doesn't seem to act like any of the others, and appears to be building something truly terrifying. A dreaded area of space that long ago saw the rise of a cosmic horror that killed untold billions before vanishing without a trace.
Oh, wow.
And a terrifying creature of unknown origin that is locked away in the Xenos Bestiarium and considered threat level
What is the
ultra-violent.
Xenos
We're going to be talking about all that and a whole
Bestiarium?
lot more. But before we dive headfirst into the grimdark, a quick shout out to this video's sponsor.
War Thunder is the most
Is that where, like, the
comprehensive
Imperium
vehicle
puts
combat
all
game
its, like,
ever
very
made,
strange
and allows you to place more than
Xenos
2,000 tanks, planes, helicopters, and
creatures?
ships in dynamic combined arms PvP battles. Every single vehicle in this game is incredibly detailed and
Oh, I used to
modeled
play
down
this
to their
game.
individual components, creating an insanely immersive combat experience. The game's collection of vehicles is frankly ridiculous.
Oh, and if you
spans over
guys would like,
100
come
years
and
of
join me
development
over on
from the
Discord. There should be a link
1920s
down
all the way up
below
to
in the
present
description
day.
box.
The graphics in this game are
Love to have you
absolutely
come over there
unreal
and
rendered
join
with
me over
beautiful
on
4K
Discord. You know, we can
resolution.
chat
It's filled
more
with
things
authentic sound
40K,
effects and beautiful music
fantasy. You
that
can
create a
suggest
fully
videos for me to
immersive
watch.
atmosphere. That immersion is taken to
Or
an
even
even
show off some of your
further
models and
level
stuff
through the
like that.
dynamic
I'm
and
always,
detailed
you know,
vehicle
looking forward to
damage
seeing
models. This game doesn't
different
have
models,
hit points.
conversions, and
Vehicles
stuff
suffer
like that.
actual
So if you
damage
want,
to all of their components
come and join me on
They even
Discord.
have
I'm
this
trying to
really
get more
cool
active
X-ray
over there,
damage
so
feature that shows exactly
it'd be
what
great to
happens
join.
to you whenever you end up destroyed. My favorite part about War Thunder is that you don't need anything more than a mouse and keyboard to control all of its planes. Thanks to its intuitive mouse aim mode, War Thunder is available on PC, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and the previous console generation. Click on the link in the description of this video to download the game for free today and receive a huge bonus pack including multiple premium vehicles, a premium account trial, boosters, and a whole lot more. Big thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Xenos Bestiarium. Subject number 696.
okay, so what is
Subject
that?
number 696 was
The
an
Xenos
unknown alien life form
Bestiarium.
that was discovered by the Death Watch on the space hulk known as Damnatio Modulis. The ship itself had disappeared about 160 years earlier when it got separated from a rogue trader fleet during an unexpected warp storm. When the ship finally reappeared, it had massive mile-long scars of rent metal across its surface, indicative of the attacks of Tyranid bioships. The case at first seemed open and shut. After
Okay,
having been
right.
separated, it was attacked by the Tyranids.
Right.
But when the Death Watch boarded the Hulk in order to investigate and search for survivors, they encountered something far more terrifying and mysterious than the Hive fleets have ever managed to produce. The Death Watch chaplain Titus Strong requested to lead the investigative kill team himself. He was a duty-bound old warrior, so such a deviation from his normal duties seemed like a strange request. He claimed that he shared a strong
He had a
premonition
feeling.
that they were dealing with something they didn't understand, and a great foe lurked inside the
I had a
haunted
feeling
passages
something
of the
odd was
Magulus.
wrong.
After searching the entirety of the ship, no trace of the crew was ever located. No desecrated corpses, no half-eaten limbs, nothing that would have been indicative of Tyranids or the foul blasphemy of Chaos worshippers. When the
Okay.
Death Watch reached the command cathedral, however, what happened to the crew was made abundantly clear as they encountered a massive twisted creature that rested upon a nest of gore-soaked human remains. The thing was a slithering monstrosity, an amalgamation of claws and tentacles, an abomination seemingly wrought from equal parts bird, squid, and spider. Without a moment of hesitation, the Battle Brothers opened up with a vicious storm of bolter fire and searing beams of plasma. Their weapons were seemingly worthless. It had no weak point, no central
Really?
mass or brainstem. For every limb that burned away, 2 more would instantly grow to replace it. The more they fought, the more the entity's form twisted and hardened against their attacks, their bolter fire serving only to rouse the creature from its morbid consumption. This surely would have been where the
Flamethrower?
kill team would meet its end if it had not been for the chaplain releasing a relic that he had carried with him for 2 centuries, for reasons known only to him. he unleashed the Temporis Adjutans, a master-crafted stasis bomb the size of a human fist that upon its detonation could render the flow of time inert in a small radius for a limited duration. The abomination was completely engulfed by the stasis field in a brilliant flash. With the threat contained, the chaplain pondered what to do with their quarry, briefly considering redirecting the Space Hulk to drift into the nearest star. But his duty to the long vigil stayed his hand. Whatever this thing was, it needed to be studied and understood in case there were more of them out there. Thus it was determined that they would transfer the creature back to Watch Fortress Iriok, where it would be held within the Xenos Bestiarium. Despite the exhaustive experimentations of the members of the Adeptus Biologists tasked with studying and experimenting on subject number 696, all of their efforts ultimately proved to be fruitless. Early theories indicated that it was either a previously unknown strain of Tyranid evolution, or perhaps a warp-induced mutation. Despite the similarities, the entity has been proven to be without a doubt not linked to the Hive Fleets, and despite its appearance, doesn't bear telltale signs of the corrupting influence of the Immaterium. No matter what weapon they use against it, nothing has been.
What is it? If you go through the warp without the Geller field, then you get like all
Although exactly what this thing
messed up.
is yet
I wonder
to be
if that could be something like
the
it.
prevailing belief is a terrifying concept that is difficult to wrap our minds around. It has been theorized that subject number 696 is only a minuscule fragment of a much larger entity dwelling within another dimension that had only briefly penetrated the veil between realities. From our perspective, it would be as if we were a bunch of fish in a pond, with no knowledge of anything outside of the waters we call home. Subject 696 is like the tip of a giant's finger, suddenly plunging into our humble little body of water. Humanity knows nothing of the giant or the realm he inhabits, and all the Death Watch could perceive was that singular digit. Whether or not the creature truly was one of a kind, if it can be killed, and what its exact nature actually is, remains a mysterious puzzle with no satisfactory answers. The heroine and the echoing...
So I wonder what else is in that Xenos Bestiarium? You know, kind of like what's in the prison cells, you know, under Terror or under the Golden Throne and stuff like that. I wonder what's in that what else is in that Xenos Bestiarium? Makes me wonder.
Vault. The
That's
Warhammer
a cool picture.
40K universe is no stranger to tragedy on a simply incomprehensible scale. Mass extinctions, apocalypses great and small, and all manner of horrifying events have plagued the cosmos since time began. Many of these events have been well documented and serve as a warning for all those that would come later. However, the truth is that the vast majority of them remain shrouded in mystery. It is perhaps more likely that for every one of these tragedies we get a brief glimpse into, there are perhaps 1,000 more mass extinctions or disappearances that have been completely covered up by the sands of time. One such bizarre instance that we know frighteningly very little about is an event referred to only as the Harrowing, a terrifying atrocity that just about every single mention of within Imperial records has either been purged or placed under heavy restriction, locked away within the archives of the Holy Ordos. Outside of those very few
really don't want
records,
anyone to know
the
about
only
it.
references that exist of the Harrowing can be found in obscure passages within certain Space Marine battle sagas or ancient Mechanicus data canonicals. This event took place in the mid-32nd millennium, just under 10,000 years ago and only a couple of hundred years after the Horus Heresy came to an end. The mid-32nd millennium was a legendary time period of anarchy for the Imperium, as it attempted to piece itself back together and undo the cataclysmic damage the War Master had inflicted. Now, according to the legends, a strange artifact was at one point discovered by an unknown exploratory fleet, first documented in the Halo Stars region of northern Segmentum Obscurus. It was said to be a vast labyrinthian construct
right near the Eye of
spun
Terror.
dust and magnetism. Now, due to the fragmentary nature of the surviving references of these times, the sources tend to contradict themselves. Now, one source claims that the device was first encountered in the dreaded Mandragora region, whereas others claim it was first seen as far away as the Unbeholden Reaches. Regardless of its origins, this terrifying labyrinth would come to be known as the Echoing Vault. No records exist of any attempt to study and or gain any form of deeper insight into the nature of the device itself, but one source claims that it was believed to be an embassy from an unknown realm of existence. When the device opened, it unleashed a wave of eldritch horror never before seen by mankind. It was an invasion that the wounded Imperium was without question unprepared to fight against. mankind would suffer unprecedented losses, including huge swaths of the Adeptus Astartes and Inquisition forces that futilely attempted to fight back against them. The terrible creatures that were unleashed from the vault rampaged into real space and unleashed an era of destruction that saw thousands of Imperial and Xenos worlds alike completely stripped of life.
Jeez.
Now, as I mentioned before, we are given practically no insight into the nature of these cosmic horrors, so we do not know their origins, whether or not they were Xenos or demonic in nature, or what their ultimate purpose actually was. Perhaps even more frustrating, the only records that exist that elaborate on their forms describes them as an abhorrent terror that disobeyed the known laws of physics, and simply by being in close proximity to them alone was enough to
no
kill
one
or
alive
drive
that
the unprotected mind
was
insane.
there at the time?
Their true name was never documented,
That's
and
such a
every
cool
time
picture.
they are referenced, they are only referred to as the Harrowing. The records that have been archived by the Inquisition state that the unknown entities were eventually defeated, and pushed back by the combined efforts of many different Imperial factions. But there also exists an account by the Dark Mechanicum that further elaborates that they were
So there
only
must be,
able
like,
to do so
Space Marines
through a
or something that are
blasphemous
still
fusion of
alive
ancient
that
archaeotech and sorcerous
might have
lore
been
that
there,
the
right?
Adeptus Mechanicus had employed a forbidden weapon from the Dark Age of technology in order to destroy some kind of bridge that the creatures used to pass from the labyrinth into real space, thus sealing the breach between dimensions. Most do not know the Harrowing ever took place, and to those who know anything about it, it is little more than a legend. But to those who believe the tales, they point to the numerous dead worlds within the Eastern Fringe as clear evidence of the Echoing Vault's existence. Perhaps even more terrifying is that there are people out there who have bought these legends hook, line, and sinker, and would seek to locate the Echoing Vault for their own nefarious purposes.
Of course.
Believing that somewhere out there, whether in an unexplored section of real space, within the vast ocean of the Immaterium, or possibly in an undocumented realm betwixt the two, the Harrowing yet wait patiently for the hour of their return.
Interesting.
The mystery of Hive Fleet Tiamat. Although it's true that each and every one of the documented Tyranid Hive Fleets operate in their own distinct patterns, they all appear to be driven by a biological need to consume. And in almost every instance, a Hive Fleet's purpose is to completely strip every planet they encounter of organic life, render it into biomass, and produce more Tyranids, before moving on to continue their bloody harvest. There is, however, a Hive Fleet that does not seem to operate like all of the rest. One that has demonstrated a bizarre pattern of behavior, wherein instead of completely stripping a planet, they instead infest it, cover it in strange Tyranid growths, and dedicate their fleets to its protection. This pattern of behavior completely contradicts everything that we think we know about the Tyranids, for as vast and terrifying of a threat they are to mankind's continued existence, the way they tend to operate was thought to be relatively predictable. The discovery of Hive Fleet Tiamat in the Eastern Fringe threw a figurative wrench into everything we thought we knew about them. The Tiamat system where the Hive Fleet gets its name was first discovered in the 35th millennium. Although the system contained approximately 7 worlds that were able to sustain life, all of them were without question death worlds. These planets could take the form of frigid ice worlds, voracious jungles full of terrifying predators, or arid wastelands. And because the region didn't seem like an immediately viable target for Imperial conquest, it would mostly go undisturbed for the next several thousand years. That was all until a small force of Eldari Rangers from Craftworld Yondon infiltrated the isolated system and learned its horrifying truth. Upon the jungle world of Zyphoria, the Rangers encountered something as baffling as its implications were terrifying. A single unknown Tyranid life form, the size of an entire continent. A massive, undulating organic construct, a superstructure of chitin and soft flesh that thrummed with immense psychic energy. When the Eldari approached the entity, many of their less psychically disciplined brothers and sisters were immediately driven into convulsions, their minds sent into shock by the sheer, overwhelming force of the construct's concentrated shadow in the warp. Aside from this little bit of information, what Hive Fleet Tiamat is attempting to accomplish here and what this thing's ultimate purpose is remains a concerning mystery. Even more troubling is that all attempts to study it are ultimately futile. For in its infinite alien wisdom, the Hive Mind has dedicated an entire Hive Fleet to its protection. In recent years, there have been several Genestealer cultist uprisings that seem to be connected to Tiamat. One such instance saw the cult known as the Choir of the Void rise up against the worshippers of the Dark Gods that had enslaved their planet.
And obviously they'd protect their queen. That's what it kind of
stars, that paradise awaited them in the Eastern Fringe. The last documented sighting of the cult was when their armada of captured Chaos ships was witnessed entering the Tiamat system. Additionally, the Death Watch has documented many instances of missing ships and lost fleets, pulsing their last known location in close proximity to the worlds claimed by Hive Fleet Tiamat. Whatever the Tyranids of High Fleet Tiamat are attempting to accomplish remains a concerning mystery for the Imperium. The enigma known as Artifact 9 Kappa Mu. The construct known as Artifact 9 Kappa Mu is a bizarre celestial body of unknown origin that has been cited as existing within the boundaries of the Sol system since the time period in which its earliest known charts were created. It has been floating around in our star system since before the modern day. Its name was given to it by the Mechanicum of Mars, and despite it seeming as if the name was derived from some form of organizational system, this couldn't be farther from the truth. We know practically nothing about this thing. The artifact itself is said to be a geodesic sphere of black metal that is approximately 30 kilometers in diameter, and looks something like a dark moon when viewed with the naked eye. The interior of the artifact consists of a spider web of different passages that link between a honeycomb network of large empty spaces that are open to the void. The disk additionally is surrounded by a huge cloud of debris, much like many other larger planetary bodies. What's strange here is that the artifact is not large enough to have its own gravitational field, yet somehow these debris have denied the laws of physics and have yet to be pulled away. The most truly baffling thing about the artifact is that it can only be viewed with the naked eye. When trying to look upon it with any form of auspex or scanning equipment, the construct is rendered completely invisible. Despite the Mechanicus having sent expeditions inside of the artifact on numerous occasions, they have yet to determine just about anything about it. They can't tell how it was made, what it was made from, what exactly its purpose is, and most importantly, whether or not it represents a threat to mankind. Encountering something like this is cause enough for concern, but the fact that it is located within the solar system, the birthplace of humanity, and the singularly most important system to the Imperium, makes it a threat of the highest caliber. Needless to say, many attempts have been made to destroy the artifact, all of which have ultimately been met with failure. Melta, seismic, and graviton charges have not even managed to scratch its surface. With no way of removing it and no indication of its purpose, the best thing the Mechanicus was able to do was set up a series of satellites around the artifact, broadcasting a signal to stay away from it. Even to this day, it still lurks out there floating around the Sol system, many believing that it predates the Dark Age of technology and may even be older than the human race itself. The only time I've ever actually read about this thing becoming important in the overall narrative of Warhammer 40K was during the novel Praetorian of Dorn, where the artifact briefly was used as an Alpha Legion rendezvous point. And disappointingly, the chapter in the book where this occurs doesn't actually give us a deeper insight into the artifact's nature, its origin, or its purpose. Maybe one day more secrets of this perplexing construct will be revealed, to Terra. But in the meantime, it remains as one of the Sol system's most interesting mysteries. The Ghoul Stars and the Pale Wasting. One of the creepiest and most mysterious places in the Milky Way galaxy is an area of space referred to as the Ghoul Stars, a realm of dead worlds whose primary inhabitants are ancient creatures straight out of humanity's primal nightmares. My personal favorite of which being the Bone Kingdom of Drazik, a Necron world that has been long feared, even by the Necrons themselves, as it is entirely populated by legions of flayed ones that wander the world's streets, fighting over bits of rotting meat, and ruled over by a singular insane Necron.
Why would the Necrons
Not only are the Ghoul Stars said to be incredibly dangerous, but the area of space that they exist in is outside of the light of the Astronomicon, thus making the job of guiding the Imperium's fleets through its borders a nearly impossible task for navigators. Because of this, most navigators refuse to sail here at all. It wasn't always such a hostile place. Imperial records indicate that before the time of the Horus Heresy, humanity had managed to carve out an existence here, inhabiting many of its worlds. That would all tragically come to an end in the late 34th millennium, when an apocalyptic unknown Xenos threat emerged that sought to purge all human life that had come to inhabit the Ghoul Stars. This threat was known only as the Pale Wasting, and unfortunately we really aren't given a lot of insight into what these things actually were. The text is seemingly contradictory. One account refers to the Pale Wasting as a star-spawned plague that swept through humanity's many worlds, whereas another account refers to it as an apocalyptic struggle ushered forth by a host of nightmare engines that slaughtered everything they encountered. The threat was deemed so significant that the Nova Marines, alongside 11 other Space Marine chapters, were dispatched to combat the cosmic horror of the Ghoul Stars. The threat would ultimately be pushed back, but at great cost, for of all those deployed, each and every chapter would be utterly annihilated, with the exception of the Nova Marines themselves. By the time of the 42nd millennium, every record that existed that talked about what happened here had been purged from existence through the relentless efforts of the Inquisition, all except for a single document upon the throne world of Terra itself that commended the Nova Marines for their great bravery and sacrifice.
So whatever
as
is
far as
out
I'm
there
aware,
is
this was one of the
incredibly
largest
strong.
single deployments of Marine chapters post-heresy, up until the Indomitus Crusade began, indicating that whatever the Pale Wasting actually was viewed as a truly terrifying threat to mankind.
And
Some
something
believe
very
that the
strong.
entities spoken of in the Pale Wasting were the Thexians of the Thexian Trade Empire, a
what?
vile Xenos race that is said to be incredibly gifted in the art of persuasion, and has pushed its influence on many other lesser-known Xenos species in order to manipulate them towards their cause. We don't know too much about them other than they apparently have the ability to mutate into a battle form that is said to be horrifying to behold.
Oh, wow.
Now, I'll be honest, I'm not entirely convinced,
That'd be
as
kinda
in my
cool. That'd be an
research I have
interesting
found no
army.
indication that they are connected to the Pale Wasting, other than they happen to be another documented Xenospecies within the Ghoul Stars. The entirety of the Death Spectre chapter, one of two only known chapters that originated in the 13th Dark Founding, have been stationed on the world of Occludus, a monitoring world right outside of the Ghoul Stars. Even after the destruction of Cadia, the forming of the Great Rift, and the Imperium being split in half, their thankless vigil was deemed too important to be abandoned, even when Guilliman sent out the call for all Loyalist forces to join him in the Indomitus Crusade. We are led
wow.
to believe that the Pale Wasting was an event where the heroic forces of the Imperium managed to
That
defeat a
important
vile
that-
Xenos threat.
No,
one
you
of
guys gotta
thousands of
stay
such
there.
occasions, and this particular one was not important enough to keep written records of. If this is the case, and the Pale Wasting will really never return, then why has an entire chapter of Space Marines been deployed to keep a constant eye on the Ghoul Stars?
Just in case,
And
maybe?
that was 5 more of Warhammer 40K's creepiest mysteries. Which one was your favorite? Which one do you think was the most spooky?
They
Are
all
there
are.
any other creepy mysteries?
All right, so there we go. That was very interesting. Those were really good. Yeah, I guess some really freaky stuff out there in the Ghoul Stars. I mean, it would be kind of cool to you know, to learn about it. Like I said, that's a really cool picture. Yeah, I think the guys he was talking about, you know, in persuasion and stuff like that, that'd be a very cool army. That'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, and the fact that, what is it, chapter of Space Marines stay out there to watch, even when, you know, Guilliman was doing his Indomitus Crusade. You know, it's like, all right, we need all the chapters, but no, you guys got to stay there, even though, like, nothing's been happening. We still need you to just keep an eye just in case. So whatever is out there is something very powerful. The artifact one, that one there was very interesting. You know, the fact that you can only see it through your naked eye and nothing else. Yeah, not really sure what else to think. I mean, it is kind of crazy that it is that close to, you know, to Terra and stuff like that. So that is a cause for concern, seeing something unknown like this that close to Terra, and there's really not much that can really be done about it. Yeah, I doubt Necrons, but I don't know. That's you know, I mean, it's kind of close. The Hive Fleet one, that one there was very interesting, about them building something on that planet and stuff like that. I don't know, I kind of think like it'd be like, I don't know, what I kind of get is like a queen or something like that, like a brood mother, I don't know, 'cause, you know, and that would explain, you know, you got the planet and stuff like that, and they're building it on the planet, and they're defending the planet, because obviously, you know, if like the queen is there, you know, like in the Alien movies, you know, you got the queen, and all the alien warriors and stuff like that will rally to like the queen and protect the queen and stuff like that. I kind of get vibes like that, you know. That's why, you know, that Hive Fleet is there defending that planet, because like the queen is there. That's what I kind of get from it. I could be completely wrong, and maybe it's some sort of new bio titan monster weapon that's not ready to be deployed yet or something. I don't know, but who knows. Yeah, this one here was pretty interesting as well. The what was it, the Harrowing? That one there was very interesting too. All sorts of different creatures and monsters and who knows what else, and the fact that so many chapters went out there and barely defeated whatever it was, Another very interesting one. See, I always like all these mysteries and stuff, you know? As cool as it would be to get, like, answers and stuff like that, you know? It's extremely interesting. That is freaky as hell. That is just utterly creepy. I wonder where he gets these pictures, because these pictures are really cool. Like, this thing here is really cool. That's a badass looking picture. This one here is probably going to be, yeah, one of my favorites, the Subject 696. So that is very interesting. That's Chaplin went along for, you know, his own, it's like he knew something. Like, all right, I got to go on this ship. I have a feeling. And then he brought that that weapon and stuff like that. But the fact that nothing was affecting this thing, you know, what, bolter fire and plasma and stuff like that, nothing was affecting it, and it was like just what, regrowing and stuff. Yeah, that's ugh, who the hell knows. But I don't know, could it be like no, I was gonna say like warp sickness, because, you know, if you go through the warp without the Geller fields, you know, you kind of get all but when he was saying like this is probably just a small piece of a much larger thing, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think, but yeah, just seeing it like all different bodies and stuff just kind of mushed together and stuff like that, just very disturbing. But now I also do want to learn about that Xenos bestiarium and stuff like that. I wonder if there's any good videos on that. Maybe it kind of gives some like what else could be in there, you know, kind of like we get hints and some things about, you know, what is it like the black cells under Holy Terror and stuff like that. Like there's what, test subject 11 or something like that, and there's like a couple other things, you know, even though we got like very little details about it, we kind of have like little ideas, you know, like there's some artifacts and there's this and there's that and stuff like that, but we don't really fully know what is down there. I wonder if you know, we have any information about this Xenos bestiarium and what else could be in there. This kind of looks like a zoanthrope head right there, even though it's got like a human face and two human arms. That there kind of looks like that zoanthrope, you know, the head. But yeah, this was really cool. I really like these. I hope he does more. I hope there's like a part 4 and stuff, because I always enjoy these 40K mysteries and what is out there. You know, maybe we'll get answers on some of these one day. Maybe not, you know, for different reasons. You know, they don't have the rights, or the person who wrote the story for this left, so they don't have the rights to that, so they can't, you know, continue on with you know, that and stuff like that. But I don't know, I always enjoy these. These are very interesting, creepy as hell. I guess it just goes to show, who knows what else is out there in the 40K universe that's way out there in the depths of space, you know. New armies, new factions, new races. Who knows? That'd be kind of cool. Just have to wait and see. Alright, so anyways, there we go. There is the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. That'd be awesome. Remember, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media. Links in the description box below. Like I said, come over, join me on Discord. It'd be awesome. We can chat more. You can suggest videos and stuff like that. That'd be great. And yeah, leave me all your thoughts and comments. What do you guys think about all these mysteries? Which one was your favorite? Do you think any of the mysteries in this video here would ever be explained or resolved, or, you know, we'll learn like the full details? Or do you think like, no, Games Workshop doesn't have like the license or anything for one of these, you know, disputes and stuff like that, so this one here will never be resolved, where, you know, like this one here could be resolved, you know, maybe they'll do it, you know, blah blah blah, something else will happen, you know, like, oh, if a certain Primarch or something like that comes back, and then he can tie this and this together or something like that, you know. Let me know. let me know. Love to hear all your thoughts and comments. And other than that, yeah, just stick around. More videos are on the way, and I will see you guys next time.